Hey YouTube, today we are watching, I'm pretty sure recycling isn't real. This one looks really interesting and this guy's super funny and you know I have the best recommendations. So you guys should be like, hell yeah, because I know what I'm talking about. Anyway, let's watch. We're joined here by Twitch. I'm sorry if they're annoying. They're pretty annoying most of the time. But let's get going.
Real quick, before we start, you're going to have a number of questions while watching this video, and 9 times out of 10, the answer to that question is either going to be technically or money. So I'm just going to reuse this clip every time that comes up. So let's get into it. But again, remember, it's always technically or money. Hello. I'm wearing a lab coat that I stole from my sister who's a nurse, which explains why it's one size too small. The reason I'm pretending to look scientifically qualified is because a few weeks ago, I set out to make a simple video about the history of reducing, reusing, and recycling. But the more reports I read, videos I watched, and red yarn I purchased, the more
Why the fuck is recycling so difficult to do? Like I was drinking one of those like yogurty drinks earlier, and it wanted me to peel off the foil, put that in a separate bin, put the cap in a separate bin, and then put the actual plastic bottle in a separate bin. I'm in town. There's not separate bins.
realize this is a deeply complicated issue. But surely the title is clickbait. I mean, recycling obviously exists, right?
I'm destroying the planet. Cancel
me.
me.
Such a mess is due to the very material that popularized recycling in the first place. Plastic. Plastic is so interesting for all the wrong reasons. I'm sure I don't need to tell you that plastic waste is a problem, but the way we got here and the reason you view it the way you do is the direct result of decades of misleading claims, unrealistic promises, and propaganda from big plastic. That's a real thing.
Big
plastic. Right now, this one's gonna be a bummer. Like chemistry because it's the one science you can't see, and because I have the
This guy talks like how my brain sounds when I'm excited about something. Like this is like my head when I see a train.
reasoning ability of a 12-year-old boy. If I can't see a thing, I tend to believe it's not real. We all know that plastic is made from oil, yet none of us know how. Prior to writing this, I couldn't even imagine.
Do they melt it or something?
As far as I can understand, when you extract oil from the ground and you refine it, the product that you're looking for is called methane. It's the primary gas that your stoves use. We burn it for like energy and stuff. It's really valuable. But one thing you get when trying to get methane is its less popular brother, ethane. And this is a byproduct of the process. Ethane is gonna be there whether you like it or not. And for a while, that's just the way that ethane was seen. It's just one of the things that you
melting
get when
oil
you're picking
and
up oil. But in the late 1800s, it was discovered that you could use it to make this weird substance. It was this white, waxy material discovered by German chemist Hans von Pechmann. His colleagues named it polymethylene, also known as polyethylene, also known as plastic.
Oh, I like that noise. That's like an autistic reward stimulant. That did shit to my brain. God, I'd be such a bad gambler. Holy shit.
Now, this discovery was an accident, and at the time there wasn't really much ethylene, also known chemist Hans von Pechmann. His colleagues named it polymethylene, also known as polyethylene, also known as plastic. Now, this discovery was an accident, and at the time there wasn't really much you could do with it commercially. But in 1933, British company Imperial Chemical Industries, great name, accidentally discovered a way to synthesize this industrially, and the result was a material unlike the world had ever seen. Polyethylene was everything you wanted it to be. It was strong, it was lightweight, it was flexible, it was heat resistant, and most importantly, it was cheap. It might not seem impressive today, but at the time, plastic was viewed like the material of the gods. It could be clear like glass, but it didn't break when you dropped it. It was lighter than metal, less flammable than wood, sturdier than paper. You could color it, make it look like any material you wanted. It was easier to clean, it was easier to transport. It was cheap, it was durable, and thanks to injection.
I always find it weird how when we think we found like the perfect thing, there's always a horrible thing that we find out years later.
Molding, it was easy to mass produce on a large
It's just
scale.
karma.
This material could be used.
Oh my god. What? Why those ads? That would kill your baby, would it not? Yeah.
Everything. And due to metal shortage in World
Hi,
War
Joel.
II, the manufacturing of plastic became really big in the 40s. And
Welcome
since
to
it was
Twitch.
already in high production, when the war ended, there was an explosion of new plastic products to choose from.
Plastics take their rightful place in a world at peace. The future will bring plastic fabrics, wondrously fine, yet resistant to wear, wrinkles, and stains.
Saran wrap, squeeze bottles, Tupperware, shoes, dolls, garbage bag, plates, bras. People loved plastic, but manufacturers loved it even more. Why? Money. Remember, plastic comes from ethane, and ethane is really cheap. In fact, there's too much of it. Because if you're a fossil fuel company, you want methane. But if you're getting methane, you're also getting ethane. But it's not just that you don't want ethane. Nowadays, you literally have to find a way to get rid of it. You can't really mix it with the methane. You can't just release it out into the atmosphere. There's only so much of it you can legally burn. And if you don't find a way to get rid of this stuff, it becomes a big problem for production.
A lot of governments, including the US government, control how much you can flare. So it might be that you are producing so much ethane that you cannot flare it and you cannot send it down the pipeline. And if you can't sell it, you have to shut down the well. They hate shutting down the well. If there's still methane down there, if there's still oil down there, that's money in the ground. So it doesn't matter if you're making money on the ethane. You just need someone to take it away from you.
And plastic just makes sense.
One thing that's crazy to me, I don't know if anyone else does this, but you'll watch some like crazy video about how these big companies lie to you, and you'll be like, holy shit, this is so bad. And then you just forget about it. It's really bad. I watched this big chicken thing. I had to turn it off in the end because it was on Netflix. And the guy said, what in the 6-7? And I had to turn it off because he's a 40-fucking-year-old man. Like, you can't say that. But, like, they were talking about the chemicals and how, like, it's, they use chemicals that are fucking used in cigarettes on fried chicken to make you addicted to it, and
So
that you
from
need
the
to come back
50s
to it.
onwards, pretty much anything you could
It's like,
dream
holy
up
shit.
made of the wonder material. The possibilities were endless, and the best part is that it would last forever, because plastics basically last forever. That will come up again later. I'm not here to say that all plastic is bad at all times. I'm coming to
Hello,
appreciate
Ellie.
that plastic does have a place in society. For example, before the
That chair is comfy as fuck. I really want, when I get a flat, I need a chair like that. Like a really old granny's chair that probably has, like she probably turned into dust on that chair. But I'd give that a good clean. That'd be so fucking comfortable.
invention of single-use plastic-filled diapers, children used to wear cloth diapers.
They don't make
that were meant
sofas
to be
like they used
washed
to.
and reused. That's okay. We don't have to go back to that one. The problem is how much plastic is made. So what were we gonna do with all this trash? I would love to answer that question, but I do have to do a commercial for a brand real quick. Why would he just interrupt the video like that? Money. Wow. Look at this total. I'll take better care of our health. Plastic is bad for the environment at almost
That 100%
every
is
stage of
bed
its
bugs.
lifetime. From the fossil fuel
Just clean
extraction
it.
needed to make the plastic, to the greenhouse gas emissions that come from when you actually produce the plastic, to the disposal of plastic, a decent portion of which is just burned afterwards, which also contributes to greenhouse gas emissions. And probably the most annoying part of plastics, especially in the 60s and 70s, is that people would just throw them anywhere. It was in parks, roads, farmlands, lakes, rivers. Plastic also ends up in our oceans, which is bad because, as we all know, fish are dumb and will confuse small pieces of plastic floating around as prey, and then they'll eat it. And then we'll eat it when we eat the fish. Did you know that the average American eats about a credit card's worth of plastic every year? That's
Oh
why I
my
don't
god,
order
every week? Fuck.
eats through my wallet. I'm doing great today. But the planet is a big place. I don't get why we can't just find somewhere to put it.
We have this one planet. We only have so many places that we could put our waste.
I can think of 3
We're so gonna start putting it in space. I mean, I know the satellites up in space, they don't get used anymore. Like around the planet is literally just like shit that we've just left in space. We so are gonna do it. We so are. We're gonna come up with some like recycling center on the moon and then move all the plastic to the moon so we don't see it and then we don't feel bad and then we'll never fix it. That's the Earth way.
different places we can put our trash.
Why is he
now.
walking
You
the
can't
green
put it
screen?
in
Because
the
he's
ocean.
fucking
What
awesome.
happened?
That's
Sure,
why.
obviously.
You can't put it on top of a mountain.
We can't?
They've even tried to put it into a volcano.
I didn't even think of that. We can't?
We have to come up with a better plan.
So we had way too much plastic trash. What
I'm
could
awesome,
we do
Al.
to fix the problem? Well, we could have cut down on plastic production, which would have solved the problem at the source. No, we're never going to do that. How about we come up with a slogan instead? If you grew up in America after the 80s, you probably grew up learning about the 3 R's. Especially in the 90s and the 2000s, messaging about the benefits of reducing, reusing, and recycling was everywhere.
It's worth it.
It is worth it.
It was on posters, commercials, children's television. They made jingles about it. They talked about it in science class. Did you know that Schoolhouse Rock forced Mitchell Musso to make a De La Soul parody song about it? Obviously, I can't play the whole thing here because Disney will have my head on a pike, but I will play a snippet shortly. However, before I do, I would like to read the lyrics to the first verse because it's written like a conspiracy theorist that's trying to make a connection that simply isn't there. 3. It's a magic number. Yes, it is. It's the magic number. Because 2 times 3 is 6, and 3 times 6 is 18. And the 18th letter in the alphabet is R. We got 3 R's we're gonna talk about today. Go listen to this song immediately after this video. I assure you, it sounds worse when you sing it. This song had to have been written in 45 seconds. Recycling ads made it seem like you were fighting for world peace every time you threw a bottle away. I'm being responsible. I'm basically a hero. We treat recycling as if everyone who does it is single-handedly preventing a plastic straw from ending up in a sea turtle's nose.
Jokia, thank you for the gifted sub. One gifted doesn't work for some reason. You're also at 250. Holy shit.
You did it, man! We won! But that slogan is written the way it is for a reason. It's written in order of importance. If you want to help the environment, by far the single best thing you can do is reduce the amount of trash you make. If you don't want the planet to be filled with waste, don't make the waste in the first place. Beyond that, the next best thing you can do is to reuse the waste that you create. And I'm not talking about that 5-minute craft reuse. I turn these bottle caps into jewelry. I'm not doing that. I'm a grown man. I don't just own a glue gun. It's kind of crazy how underrated reusing things is. We'll talk about this more later, but Americans have been taught to believe that reusing things is for poor people. Historically, though, every culture and every people...
Oh my god, have you ever seen those videos of the cheapskate people, though? Fuck. Where they reuse, like, bath water? Hell no. Filthy fuckers.
Have always reused
Filthy
everything
animals.
they can.
So, in thinking about ancient Greek sculptors, their favorite material to use was bronze. And the reason that we only have a few of these left, they got melted down to make implements of war. Egyptian kings would wait for previous monuments to maybe fall into a little bit of disrepair, and they would knock them down, and they would use those pieces to build their own monuments. Sometimes the Romans would take their sculptures, and they would recarve them into the sculptures of later emperors.
If you grew up in a melanated household, then you know that just because a container that used to hold food is now empty, it does not mean its life is over. I'll be the first to admit this. I used to be embarrassed when we'd have people over and I'd have to explain to them that we used the empty Greek yogurt containers from Costco as cups. Well, I wasn't embarrassed at first. It wasn't until somebody who wasn't in my family came to my home, saw what was happening, and explained to me that their family doesn't do this, that it immediately clicked, yeah, of course nobody else does this. This looks weird. But looking back, objectively, it shouldn't be viewed as weird because we used that container 50 times longer than it was intended to be used. We saved them from going into a landfill prematurely. That is, of course, until
Yeah, but
I
that
put it in the
still
microwave
goes
and it
into a
became
landfill.
immediately unusable because, of course, it was. It was a Greek yogurt plastic container.
Isn't it the minute you put food on plastic, it can't be recycled?
It can't handle
I think.
that heat. But sometimes, despite your best efforts,
On most
you
food.
end up with plastic that
Like
you just
ready
don't know
meals.
what else
Ready
to do
meals
with.
are terrible.
Then and only then is when the last R comes in: recycling. The idea that some company or organization could take your trash and turn it into anything your heart desires. It's the most magical of the 3 R's. Magical in the sense that it's not.
I think it's black plastic, because they can do it with cans.
That isn't to say recycling doesn't work for anything. There are actually a number of materials that recycle rather well. Aluminum, for example, is considered infinitely recyclable, meaning you can recycle it over and over and over again and it won't break down in quality. In fact, of all aluminum that has ever been produced, 75% of it is still in circulation today. Now, you compare that to plastic that actually breaks down every time you recycle it. And of all the plastic that's ever been produced, 70% of it has been discarded. In fact, generous estimates say that only 10% of all plastic has ever been recycled once, and only 1% ever gets recycled twice. I think the main thing that makes recycling super difficult is that it doesn't arrive at the facility in perfect condition, organized by color and material. It comes in one gray blob, and there is almost surely animal and or human feces in the mix. And even the stuff that isn't fecal matter, a good portion of those materials shouldn't be in that pile. Recycling rules get so confusing because, first of all, you need to know what type of plastic it is because not all plastics can even be
Oh, and also some people like in different areas have different bins because it's all council. So some people have paper bins. It's shit is fucking confusing. There's too many fucking
you have
bins.
to clean the plastic before you put it in the bin? Some packaging materials, even if it has the recycling symbol on the front, some recycling plants can't accept it. And I would love to sit here and tell you all the ins and outs of what can and can't be recycled. I really wanted to make it work. I come up with a bit where I was gonna get a scroll and be like, hear ye, hear ye. I can't do that because recycling rules change everywhere.
Hello, Serena.
There's a new set of instructions. The ones in my area are different from the ones in your area and the next guy's area and the next guy after that. And despite all that effort, most plastics just end up in a landfill or being burned in an incinerator. So how did we come up with such an ineffective system? Well, to understand that, you're gonna have to...
Imagine an old white businessman from the 50s.
So you're pretending you're this businessman from the 50s and you work in the plastic industry and your entire job is just to make money. You know, one of the reasons life sucks now is because you can't own anything anymore because everything is a subscription. Sure, I could make some money selling you something once. I could make more money if I sold it to you once a month for the rest of your life. But how am I gonna get you to buy more plastic? I just spent all this money advertising.
What do we think the next subscription will be? Like the next really controversial subscription? I don't know. We already have subscriptions for games and movies. Maybe clothes? Water? I mean, technically we do. I mean, we pay bills for water, which was not really a subscription. Grave space? Holy shit, yeah. What else could we pay subscription for? Maybe like parking spots. I could see that happening. Like if you want to own a parking spot, you don't own it. You have to pay monthly to regain the spot, like especially in busy places. I could see that shit happening.
How durable it is and how it basically lasts forever. People know you don't need any more plastic. What am I supposed to... What if I just told you the opposite?
Imagine parking is real. Is it really?
Boring old white men that you can think of. And then the main old white guy is in the center and he's like, okay guys, if we want to make money, we have to convince the public to throw away the plastic. And everybody was like, what's this guy talking about? And the main guy is still up front. He's all like, you got...
I mean, I don't know if you guys saw, but there was the whole thing with BMW where they wanted to add a subscription to the cars for heated seats, I think, and like Apple CarPlay, and it was like £18 a month. And if you didn't pay it, they'd just turn off the features in your car for the car you already paid for.
Guys, listen. Glass
Fucking
and metal
nuts.
are expensive and heavy and breakable, but
I
plastic...
love my little Citroen. I can connect my phone and blast really shit music, and the bass is so bad that it makes the whole car shake, but that's why we love it.
is made of oil, so obviously it costs basically nothing. And then one guy raises his hand and he's like, wait, I thought oil was basically like black gold and every country on earth is fighting for it literally all the time. And the main guy's like, shut up, it's not important. Nobody knows how both those things are true. This is just the way the world works. It's light, it's cheap, and we have more than enough to sell. If we can just convince them to throw away the plastic stuff they already have, I promise you we will all make so much money. And remember, that's your job. That scenario wasn't really an exaggeration. At a 1956 annual conference for the plastics industry, Lloyd Stouffer, an editor of a trade magazine, literally told plastic executives their future is in the trash can. But there was a problem. This was the 50s. These people lived through the Great Depression, where they used dresser drawers as baby cribs, and they made the most insane recipes with any food.
Vinegar cobbler. Fruit flavor without fruit. Holy shit. Mix sugar, vinegar, and water. Combine flour and baking powder. Add butter and mix into dough. Pour syrup mixture into baking dish. Wow.
Food they could find.
I should make
One guy
that.
on TikTok from 3 years ago
Vinegar
used to
cobbler.
make all those recipes from the 30s. That was depression food, not the feeling, the time period. Although you may confuse it to be the same thing because they couldn't afford fruit, so when they made apple pies, it wasn't with apples, it was with crackers and water. This era of Americans was not used to the idea that you buy something, use it one time, and immediately get another one. That would be like if I invited you over for dinner and we were eating off glass plates, and at the end of the night you asked me if I want you to put your plate in the sink, and I just told you, nah. Just throw it away. What are you talking about? And again,
I should do a baking
just telling
stream.
the public how plastic is
I doubt I could film in the kitchen. Maybe when I get a flat in 10 years.
basically indestructible. So why would they just want to get rid of it? So the plastic industry had to make new ads that were basically like,
okay, forget everything we just said about plastic, okay? It's not that great. It's cheap, and we have an endless supply of it. So after you use it, just throw it out, okay? If you eat off of it, if you drink out of it, if you look at it too hard, just throw it out. It's fine.
but isn't that kind of wasteful?
Come on, man. All the cool kids are doing it.
For decades, Americans had a make it do or do without mentality. Our new throwaway culture fell in love with single-use plastics and didn't worry about the consequences.
Being disposable, there are no empties to collect. Vinyl and asbestos on the floor.
In fresh sun, sea, and sky colors.
So people started throwing stuff away. Everywhere. It was too much stuff. Littering was now becoming a bigger problem following the rise of single-use plastics, which combined with other environmental concerns led to one of the biggest environmental movements in modern history.
This is a CBS News special.
Earth Day.
A day set aside for a nationwide outpouring of mankind seeking its own survival.
April 22nd, 1970 was the world's first Earth Day. A time for people in some of the most confusing pieces of attire and hairstyles that the human race had ever seen up to that point in their history gathered together.
Honestly, I hope most of the 70s and 80s hairstyles come back. They're so fucking cool. Especially 80s.
To discuss issues hurting the environment. And of the many issues, one of the issues on the docket was plastic waste. In fact, you start to hear talk that maybe plastic should be banned altogether. But again, you're a businessman in the plastics industry. If your product gets banned, you can't make any more money. That's your one job. You're blowing this. But you, as a businessman, maybe you take a second to realize maybe enough's enough. Your decisions have negatively impacted the planet. You've made more money than you could ever hope to spend in your lifetime. Maybe it's time that the plastics industry goes to rest. You retire. Maybe spend more time with your wife and the kids. Maybe this is a good thing after all. Maybe it's time to call it quits and let the packaging industry go back to its more sustainable practices. I'm kidding. It's time to...
I'm not buying Logan anything. I bought my car.
Plot. What do we do every time we need the public to change their opinion immediately for our own benefit? Advertising.
Oh. Where'd the audio go? Hello? This is most replayed.
Well, surely offensive. It was to be paid for by some
Weird.
environmental activist
Okay, so the
group. It
audio
was
went,
actually
okay.
produced by Keep America Beautiful, an organization started by the packaging industry like Coca-Cola and Dixie Cups. You know, the people who made the trash. The point of this ad wasn't to stop litter. It was to make it abundantly clear that this littering thing, that's your fault. But aren't you guys the ones that got an entire generation of Americans to start acting like this in the first place? Don't change the subject. You made that Italian man in an almost surely offensive garb cry. Look at what you did. That's a great first step. But if you really want the people to get off your back about a problem, you have to promise them a solution. Give them something to believe in. And so essentially what happened was the equivalent of, I'm sorry guys, this is getting out of hand. The city's gonna have to ban the plastic. No, wait. Okay, we'll fix it. Jeez.
A growing backlash was threatening the future of plastic.
So it was up to us in the plastics
Oh my
industry
god!
to-
Well, what they created recycling and pushed it to then make people feel less guilty about buying more plastic.
to solve this problem so that they could continue to package their
Why is nothing good, man? This is so depressing. Why is everyone just doing shit for money?
products in plastic.
To appease government officials,
Hey, Joe.
the industry funded a local recycling pilot project.
The industry attitude was, we'll set this up and get it going, but if the public wants it, they are going to have
He's such an interesting mole on his face.
to pay for
Sorry.
it.
So they invested
There's an
millions into
intrusive
bringing
thought.
recycling into the mainstream. But
Welcome
could
back,
that even
Joe.
work? Technically,
It's
the
good to see you,
process
man.
of turning used plastic into new plastic is physically possible. The issue is when you have to do it with millions of pounds of plastic. Could this system work at scale? Technically, no. The answer to that one's just no. According to NPR and a paper from the Center for Climate Integrity, internal plastic industry documents from the late 60s and early 70s gave a sterling recommendation to the recycling process. Using face-strengthening words such as costly, we have serious doubt that it can ever be made viable on an economic basis.
In 1974. Oh my god, that was what? Almost 50 years ago. Or was it 50 years ago? It was 50 years ago. 52 years ago, right? Or am I being stupid?
Virtually hopeless. The plastics industry knew from the very beginning this was
Yeah,
never
we knew
gonna
52
work,
years
and they
ago.
did it anyway. Why? Money. Here's the thing. It doesn't actually need to work. It just needs to look like it works. If it'll get the hippies to shut up, sure, we can paint some trash cans blue and put some
Hey,
arrows
Ariana.
on it and maybe blow a few mil building some recycling centers and we'll run a few ads about it. Is it gonna cost us? Yeah, but it's a lot cheaper than having our entire industry banned or coming up with a solution that would actually work. If someone can prove me wrong, I would welcome you to do so in the comment section. But as far as I can tell, the entire idea of recycling is basically just theater, and you can see it everywhere. For example, a lot of people think that all plastics are recyclable, but they're not. Some types of plastics, no matter what you do, can never be recycled. But you wouldn't know just
So
by
why
looking
the fuck aren't they banned?
at
Like
it. That
what?
wasn't until out of the kindness of their hearts, a lobbying and trade group known as the Society of the Plastics Industry, a loving organization with a not at all nefarious sounding name, proposed a solution to identify which plastics can and can't be recycled. Okay, we've heard there's been a little bit bit of confusion as to what you can put in the bin. So
Too
today
profitable.
we're proposing a new symbol that we're going to put on all the
Everything
plastic
comes back
products
to
so
money.
everybody knows exactly what can.
This
and
videos
can't
just
be
made me
recycled.
depressed.
Okay, that actually sounds pretty
How old
good.
am I?
Now, that's not
33.
cool. Now, is there a problem, sir? That looks exactly like the recycling symbol. How dare you? My work is completely original. It's in a triangle shape. I didn't know anybody could own a shape. It has a chasing arrows. My arrows are slimmer. Yeah, but if you squint and look at them both, they pretty
Yeah, I'm going to be so real with you. 99% of people will just see that it's recyclable, put it in a blue bin, and that's it.
much look exactly. Yeah, but mine has numbers in it. You
It's
notice
so
that,
fucked.
Einstein? You're so good at pointing things out. You notice that? You know they look the same. Why would you make them look exactly the same? Money. This is the resin identification code. It was invented by Society of the Plastics Industry in 1988. On paper, its purpose is to identify what kind of plastic a thing is made out of. Each type getting a different number. As far as I know, there are 7 RIC numbers, and pretty much only 1 and 2 are widely considered recyclable. But if you didn't know that, because why would you just casually know that? Wouldn't you?
What? So 1 and 2 are widely recyclable. So if you throw 5 away, it's likely not going to get recycled anyway.
Just
For fuck's-
assume that this means that the thing is recyclable and you put it in the bin and you think recycling is working. The plastics industry lobbied 40 states to get the RIC symbol to look like this. As long as you think it's working, it
So
doesn't matter
fucking
if
evil.
it actually is. That's the whole name of the game. But why though? What specifically about recycling is so impossible to get right? Fun fact, when you look up Society of the Plastics Industry on YouTube, one of the first search results is a promo they just released called Recycling is Real. Is it though?
Oh god.
Because there's no way she flew a plane. Do you see my point? Like, you hear what I'm saying? Helen can't do either, and you mean to tell me she was navigating the skies? Random question. Would you say you have a decent idea of how a toilet works? I feel like most people would say yes.
Yeah.
It's a toilet. You know, you push a thing, water comes out. Seems pretty simple. Okay, cool. Here are all the parts. Build a toilet. I saw somebody say this as a good example of showing that people don't really know how most...
The UK is one of the better places in the Western world for recycling. It is a plaster for a deeper systematic issue that is caused by the ultra wealthy. I don't know. I shit's difficult though. It's like, I'm gonna be so real. Like this, I got this can here. Is this recyclable? Yes, UK only recycle. So I will just put this in a blue bin.
things work.
Like,
Even things that
it doesn't
seem
tell me
relatively
anything
simple. You
else.
put all the pieces in front of
And yeah, it just says please recycle. Oh no, it has a number. Holy shit! It has it's aluminium, so it can actually be recycled. But it's 41. What do you mean there's 41? I don't think you guys can see. What the fuck? Why are there 41? Is that a UK thing?
them. The average
I
person
don't know.
doesn't understand how a lot
Number.
of things work. With that being said, do you feel you have a good idea of how recycling works? I'll be honest, I thought you just melted it and then shaped it again, but the process has like 17,000 steps. Because you can't just put all the plastics into one big vat and melt it down. They all have different properties and different melting temperatures. If you did that, you would just end up with a bunch of useless goop. So first you have to create recycling centers and a recycling program for a given area. Then you need to inform the people about what can and cannot go into the recycling bin, which is pretty much a useless step because no matter what you do, people are going to put anything they want in the bin.
Very surprised what people think is recyclable.
You name it, eventually it'll be found in it.
A pool table.
Big propane tanks.
Needles.
A neck brace.
We've had guns, ammunition, fireworks, sparklers.
I had a live snake.
After you pick it up, you have to do your best to separate the non-recyclables from the rest of the mix, and you have to clean them and treat them and process them. All of that just to get recycled plastic, a material that is less durable and more expensive than virgin plastic. From an economic and practical standpoint, this process makes almost no sense. You can sit there and say, it shouldn't matter, we should do this for the good of the planet. Unless you're gonna do it, or you're gonna fork up the cash to get somebody else to, it's not getting done. As Vidyamani said when speaking about just the separation process, unless someone's paying for it, the plastic's going to the landfill. So you may be wondering, surely there was a point in time when recycling kind of worked at least a little bit? Technically, yes. Seeing the monstrous problem before them, the best and brightest American minds of that generation came up with a solution that, at least from an economic standpoint, was viable. Describing it with the gravitas.
What's the video name?
It was the equivalent
I'm
of...
pretty sure recycling isn't real.
Shh, it's okay. You're okay. It's okay. We just gave all our trash to China. I'm sorry, how does this work?
What? Did we? What the what?
We'll pick up recyclables, put them on trucks, bring them to recycling centers. They'll organize them, crush them, turn them into bricks. We'll put those bricks onto different trucks, drive them to the coast, sell them to the Chinese, and then load them onto cargo ships. And once the ships reach China, they'll take the bricks, give them to low-wage workers to organize them and turn them into new stuff. And when it's all said and done, for every dollar we spend on this process, we will earn $1.01, which is more money than when we started. Okay. And that's how recycling worked in America for over 25 years. But it wasn't just the US. According to NPR, 70% of the world's plastic waste was being sent to China. And China was getting a slight profit out of this, but that profit was being outweighed by all the other indirect costs that came with this recycling program. Because we never actually solved the problem of littering and handling the trash properly. We just gave the problem to a different country.
What about India? Like, why? I feel like India probably isn't as bad as it looks. I feel like that we just get shown like handpicked. Like, I feel like you could probably show some really bad landfill sites in the US or the UK, but I don't know how bad India actually is, and I wonder if India brought in any trash.
Sorting facilities in China
It is?
would often illegally dump
Well, did India not recycle then? How the fuck does it get that bad?
the portion of the plastics that even they couldn't profitably recover, creating an environmental problem that the government had to pay to clean up.
Martin Borque, I really hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, executive director of the Ecology Center in Berkeley, California, once put a tracker in a bale of waste sent to China just to see what would happen to it. And when it touched mainland and they got in contact with the locals that were near where the tracker was placed, they found that it was just littered. On top of that, remember how people will recycle anything, including hazardous materials? Well, it turns out that those materials were causing hazard to the Chinese workers who were sorting them. After a while, the Chinese government must have reasoned to itself, maybe destroying our country's lakes and giving people occasional anthrax poisoning isn't worth $17 of profit. So they banned the import of pretty much all plastic waste in 2018 with no warning. To which the waste management industry calmly responded, what am I supposed to do with all this? Once China stopped taking it, we didn't have many options on where to put it. Imagine you were taking your trash out for the week and the garbage man just said no and then drove away. You then have two options: create a pile in the backyard or set it on fire. And that's exactly what we've done for the past 8 years. I
So fucking bad.
really tried to verify this stat, and I could be wrong, but as far as I know, when you recycle something, most of the time, it just ends up in a landfill or in an incinerator, because there's just no money to do anything else with it. And I would love to sit here and say there is a solution and that
It will 100% get flung out to space at some point. When we run out of space, we'll build a comically large catapult and fire it out into space.
they're working on something that's gonna work in the next few years. But as far as I know, right now, at this current moment, this is all recycling is. Almost every solution I read about when researching this video is either going to hurt the environment more or it's going to cost way too much money. Even when something says it's made of recycled plastics, I'm pretty sure in most cases it just ends up looking something like this. So you promise that when I put a plastic bottle in the bin, you turn it into another plastic bottle just like new? Absolutely. In fact, I have one right here. That is not the same thing. I'm doing the best I can! Downcycling is when a recycled product isn't as good quality as when it was first made. For example, a food-grade plastic that gets recycled is no longer good enough quality for food packaging, and so it becomes part of like a plastic bench or something. Okay, but I saw a TikTok of a mad scientist fellow who was turning plastic into fuel. Why can't they just do that? Technically, as far as I know, that process is called pyrolysis, and it is possible. Because like plastic is made from oil, so couldn't you do some science stuff to maybe
Oh,
turn
I
it
saw
back
this guy, and everyone in the comments was like, this guy's gonna get fucking killed.
to oil? I don't get it, but it is scientifically possible. So why don't they do it? According to the TikTok comment section of that video, it's because the CEO of Exxon will personally 360 no-scope this guy if he ever goes to market. That's not why. Then why not? Money. Again.
It's like the water. Have you guys seen the video of the water cut? The guy who created a car that runs on water.
Could you build a toilet? At scale, the process of pyrolysis costs way too much economically and environmentally. As far as doing it for plastics at least, it just doesn't make much sense. Besides that, the process of this and other forms of advanced recycling generates a lot of hazardous waste. According to the NRDC, they once observed that an advanced recycling plant, also known as a chemical recycling plant, created almost 500,000 pounds of hazardous waste in 2019 alone. In addition, these plants produce air pollution, which poses a health risk to nearby neighborhoods. Neighborhoods that tend to be made of low-income, non-white people. As a result, these neighborhoods lose even more of their value, and due to the health risks that come with being so close to one of these facilities, it turns these areas into what ProPublica described as sacrifice zones. And on top of that, a lot of these advanced recycling plants just end up burning the plastic. However, none of that will stop the plastics industry from saying they're doing it. Because again, it barely matters that it's not working. As long as people think it could, they're not gonna get mad at us.
Innovation in American plastics means reducing, reusing, and
manufacture.
So you recycle.
Well, yeah, we manufacture recycled plastic. It's how we stay competitive.
And it's better for the environment.
And it's better for business.
We love propaganda. I'm waiting for the American flag.
It's the way of the future. The U.S. has to keep up.
It's the way of the future. The U.S.
This ad was made by America's plastic makers, and on their website, they will tell you that they are part of the plastics division of the American.
I'm so glad the UK doesn't do this. Oh my god, could you imagine? Like if Britain was like, oh, I guess Britain is all like Britain first and stuff, but at least we don't like. We have those people. What are they called? They're called like Alstom, who make trains like all across the world. I'm so glad that we don't have like stupid ads being like connecting the world. That's the British way or some shit.
Chemistry Council and their member companies, which include Chevron, Dow, Exxon, and Shell. The companies that make the oil, that make the plastic. Secondly, he never answered a question. Am I the only one that peeped that?
And it's better for the environment.
And it's better for business.
Hey Mila.
It's the way of the future.
I've seen this
We're better
ad
at trains
a
than you.
billion times, and I've noticed.
No, see, we made really fucking cool trains, and then we gave all our contracts to companies that will just milk us for money because they can just raise the budget because we have no skilled workers anymore. And yeah, that's why High Speed 2 is a shit show.
That detail every single time. Like that was a question.
To be completely honest, we should have just got the French or Scandinavians to. We should just hired them to make us a high-speed rail line. But we're too proud. We're too like, this will be a British-built railway, and then we'll spend 100 billion building one track, and then cut half of it to the most needed part. Can you tell I'm very passionate?
And he just ignored it and talked
It's
about
so
the
fucking
business of it.
stupid.
Am I insane? That's what just happened.
Now you're good.
Recycling yesterday's plastic because it was made.
Like, yes, let's make the first or the second British high-speed rail line to Birmingham. God, no.
Made to be more.
It's not, though. It's made to be one thing, one time for 30 seconds, and then spend the next 1,000 years polluting a river in Taiwan. And I think all these ads...
The country is run by people who live in London, where basically all the investment goes, so they live in a bubble and think that the UK is doing great. Yet they've never been up north whatsoever. And we crucially need more funding in the north because cities like Manchester and Leeds and Liverpool are growing and need more funding.
And messaging and borderline
But
propaganda
it is what it is.
just serves to confuse people on what's actually happening with their trash, i.e., the propaganda is working. Laura Leebrook, a manager of a recycling plant in Oregon, explained that when she tries to tell people that recycling doesn't work, they don't want to believe her. Because the truth is, we need recycling. Not because it fixes any problem, it's because it removes this guilt. It's kind of like when you get those ads for children's cancer hospitals and you can't skip it because you have to wait 5 seconds, so before you can, you try not to make eye contact with the sick child in the video. It's kind of like that. We don't want to be confronted with the fact that American consumption is disgusting. We need something to believe in. It's a reason to feel that we're not destroying the planet with our insatiable greed. It doesn't have to actually work. I just need to believe that I'm doing something so I can sleep at night. If I just put the bottle in the blue bin, I don't have to be confronted with the fact that that bottle is going to sit somewhere for the next 700 years. If I don't have to look at it, it's almost as if it doesn't exist anymore. Don't take that from me.
Recycling, it's one of those things where...
That's like everything, though. It's like, would you eat a chicken that you watched killed in front of you? Probably not.
Not only does the public kind of depend on that emotionally to relinquish their, guilt about buying things.
You would? What, if you saw, like, someone fucking chop off a head of a chicken and then it's a way of life? I don't think I could eat it. I think that's... I need the middleman. I can't.
But it has been kept alive by the manufacturers.
Ultimately, though, anytime we spend placing the blame solely on the individual is when the propaganda has fully accomplished its work. Yes, American consumption is killing us, but who sold
Trained as a
the
fisherman,
poison?
I have no problem doing
Corporations
that.
are the ones that invested.
Oh,
in
fair
plastic.
enough, to be
Corporations
honest.
are the ones that convinced Americans to buy more plastic.
I don't know. I don't know. I find fish different, which is so wrong. I don't know. Fish also feels so detached. Like, I don't ever really think of fish.
Could ever need. Corporations are the ones that
You
blame
know what I mean?
consumers for a littering
It's really
problem
strange.
they created. Corporations are the ones that pushed and promoted a solution they knew would never work. And corporations are the ones that paint themselves as the heroes and innovators solving a crisis that they created while
It's
ultimately
not wrong they don't
coming
feel
up with
pain. Fuck off, yes they do.
these scalable solutions, all the while creating more plastic. Lisa Ramsden of Greenpeace USA says the plastics industry intends to triple plastic production.
They honestly
by
don't. How?
2050. The takeaway from this discussion isn't that we shouldn't be doing what we can. We should all still be reducing, reusing, and then when all else fails, recycling, because a bad solution is better than no solution. But the real takeaway is this: no matter what any company, ad campaign, children's media, catchy jingle, or industry group tries to tell you,
I fucking hate videos like this because I'm gonna be like, holy shit, and I'm gonna wake up tomorrow, make porridge, and then put that packet in the blue bin.
this conversation isn't just solely about how much you love the planet. This whole conversation has always been about money. And although it
Everything's about
technically
money.
exists, and I'm by no means an expert, I'm pretty sure recycling
Porridge?
isn't
Yeah, you never had golden syrup porridge? That shit is glorious.
real.
Plastics take their rightful place in a world at peace.
What a video. That was a great video. Oh my goodness. This feels so depressing. Oh my god. Anyway, thank you everybody on YouTube for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you watched it all the way through, it was nearly 40 minutes long. Holy shit. Comment pineapple. Not in the swinger way, in the normal way. And I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye, guys. See you later.